My whole life is just staying in this bed. I wake up hopeless and go to bed hopeless.
Food is what keeps me and Alan going.
I'm miserable. And food is the only thing that helps me with the pain.
Vian Rodriguez's battle with obesity was both courageous and heartbreaking. Imagine this. At 594 pounds, Vian's daily life was a constant struggle against numerous health issues like high blood pressure, heart problems, type 2 diabetes, blood clots, and arthritis. She could barely stand for a few minutes due to her immense weight. Living with her husband Alan, who himself weighed 648 pounds, their combined struggles were daunting. Let's explore how her story unfolded.
I'm embarrassed that I have to have Alan help me like this. I'm practically bedbound at this point. And right now, I'm staying in the living room, and this is like my bedroom, and this is where I am all day and all night. I pretty much don't go anywhere. And I do just about everything here. I can't make it all the way to the back of the house, and that's where the bathroom's at.
Vian had a complicated relationship with food. It was more than just nourishment. It was her solace and escape from life's harsh realities. In the opening scenes of her episode, we saw Vian struggling to get a bath as she couldn't walk all the way back to her house where the bathroom was. Trapped by her food addiction and physically unable to satisfy her basic needs, the situation escalated into a crisis. But how did things get this bad?
When I was getting close to the weight I am now, it was still a much better life because I could still get up and do things and feel like I was alive. But those days are over because of my body now and how bad it is. Now I'm just a helpless person who can't do anything for herself. And I hate it. I just wish it was different. But I know for that to happen, me and Alan would have to change the way.
Vian's weight problems began in her childhood, marked by instability and tragedy. Initially raised by her grandparents while her mother was violent and abusive, her world was shattered at age 5 when her grandmother died of a heart attack right in front of her. From that moment on, living with her mother, their diet mainly consisted of fast food, setting the stage for her lifelong struggle with weight.
Growing up, from very early on, things were hard because of my mom. I have one older brother, and she wasn't good to either of us. My mother was abusive physically and verbally and mentally. She would hit me with belts and cables, extension cords. I mean, anything that she could strike me with, she would.
Determined to make a change, Vian and her husband, Alan, decided to travel to Houston to meet Dr. Now, the renowned bariatric surgeon. This journey was no small feat for Vian, highlighting the severe physical and emotional challenges she faced. At her first checkup, Vian weighed over 590 pounds with a BMI of 117, numbers that even shocked Dr. Now, who noted it as the highest he had ever seen. He put her on a strict 1,200 calorie diet, emphasizing the need to lose at least 100 pounds per month. Could Vian overcome her food addiction to meet these goals?
I can get up some now, but I can't go far still.
Okay, in addition to the diet, getting mobile is going to be the most important thing you can do for your health. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I want you every day to work on getting up and walking. And then the next day, try to go further and do more. Okay?
Okay.
All right, good. I see you have distended abdomen and some of the...
By her second appointment, it was evident that Vian's journey was one of the most inspiring on the show. She not only met, but exceeded expectations, losing over 220 pounds and qualifying for weight loss surgery. Her commitment didn't falter post-surgery. She continued to lose weight, reaching a milestone of 401 pounds. However, despite her remarkable progress, Vian's health complications remained a significant concern.
Could push their body to a point where it is too much and it starts to give out. So if there are any issues that concern us, we will have to stop the surgery early. But if we are able to successfully complete her gastric sleeve today, it will help Vian to stay on track like she needs and lose even more weight. Because the sleeve gastrectomy is an operation that we remove 80 to 90% of the stomach, leaving a small narrow tube that looks similar to...
In a tragic turn of events, Vian's story ended heartbreakingly. She passed away due to complications from pneumonia at just 41 years old. Her death highlights the brutal reality of the long-term effects of severe obesity and the immense strain it puts on the body, even after significant weight loss. Vian's bravery and her hard-fought battle remain a poignant reminder of the challenges and potential for change in the fight against lifelong obesity.
Wait for tomorrow and all the days after that. There you go, you can do that. Because I know I get to do them with the woman I love, who is my whole motivation for doing all this. So I consider myself blessed. I love my life now, so I'm not gonna let a single thing mess that up for both of us, no matter what.
What do you think?
I'm just happy.
Me too, baby.
Paul's life was filled with unimaginable struggles, moments of hope, and ultimately a heartbreaking end. Adopted as a newborn by a family who had always wanted a son, Paul quickly became the center of attention among his 3 sisters. Spoiled with love, attention, and plenty of treats, he developed an early love for food that soon spiraled out of control. It sounds like every kid's dream, right? But sometimes too much of a good thing can lead to disaster.
I never thought my life would be like this. I never thought I'd be 750 pounds. And at my size, I'm miserable. My back aches, my knees, my toes. I mean, everything about my body hurts. The only thing that helps me with the pain is food. And the thought of being able to eat is what motivates me to get up.
By the time he was 12, Paul was already tipping the scales at over 200 pounds. High school saw him shine not only as a bright and intelligent student, but also as a star football player. This was a remarkable achievement that filled his family with pride. However, this glory didn't last long as his weight continued to climb, reaching a staggering 400 pounds by the time he was 17. With his health deteriorating rapidly, Paul had to give up the sport he loved, marking a tragic turn in his life. Just when you think it couldn't get worse, fate dealt Paul another cruel hand.
Dad was 400 pounds, and my mom was overweight too. So we all were big, and I think that was partly because my mom was such a good cook. My mom's goal was to make us happy, so she was always feeding us, and that's how she showed us she loved us. And I just constantly wanted to eat, and I never wanted.
On what seemed like a fun Mother's Day, while out riding four-wheelers with friends, tragedy struck. Paul was involved in a severe accident that badly injured his foot. The injury was so severe that he got severe lymphedema on both legs. This drastic change made mobility a massive challenge for Paul, especially considering his weight issues and the new swollen legs he had to adapt to. Can you imagine dealing with such a dramatic life change?
I didn't even care about my grades. My grades got so poor, they held me back then. So by the time I finally did manage to graduate, I was very happy to leave school and all that behind me because I wasn't being bullied every day. But I knew I needed to work. So after high school, I went into the family business. I became the fourth generation in my family to do that. And I loved it because I felt like I fit right in. So I did that full time.
Determined to turn his life around, Paul sought help from the renowned Dr. Now Zaradan. With sheer determination and under Dr. Now's strict program, Paul managed to shed an incredible 116 pounds. After surgery, he continued to impress everyone by slimming down to 641 pounds, sharing his progress and newfound optimism on social media. But behind the scenes of these positive posts, Paul was grappling with a much darker battle.
You weren't kidding about your weight. You're over 750, and that's a lot. But thankfully, you're still mobile. But no one that way is getting food without some help. So, who you got with you?
My mother and my best friend.
All right, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, who is enabling you more, your mother or your friend?
Tragically, Paul's story took a devastating turn. He died in a car crash in September 2023 at the age of 37. This heartbreaking moment highlighted the hidden struggles Paul faced, struggles that perhaps went unnoticed by those around him. Paul's story is a stark reminder of the need for comprehensive care in reality TV shows that focus on such intense personal transformations. His life, marked by high points and deep valleys, continues to resonate, urging us to consider the true cost of reality TV fame and the importance of mental health support.
I think the hardest thing is we're gonna be apart 1,400 miles. I feel like our relationship is strong enough to withstand this time away. I think it's vital for him to get healthy because if he doesn't, the strain that the weight does put on his body, I feel will cut his life shorter. I think if Paul lost a lot of weight, he would be able to come out and do more things and be able to spend time doing those things with.
At 36, Melissa was battling a mix of health issues like diabetes, hypertension, and polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. These conditions not only affected her health, but also brought unexpected challenges like hair growth in unusual places, including her face. To make matters worse, parts of her stomach were nerve damaged, complicating her situation even more. So, will Melissa find a way to turn her life around?
I have a hard time facing the reality of my life because at my size, at my weight, you purposely avoid everything that brings your awareness to how you appear to other people. And that's how I've tried to live for years.
Melissa's relationship with her body was complicated from the start. From a young age, she found comfort in food. It wasn't just about eating, but about finding a momentary escape from reality. Her journey into binge eating began at 6. Around the same time, she faced horrifying trauma at the hands of a family friend, an abuse that continued until she was 11. No one should ever go through this trauma.
Of course, you're not supposed to be this weight, and you're supposed to be able to function as a normal person. And I'm unable to function as a normal person because of all this excess weight. I need to plan every step and move I make. Or I might end up in a situation I can't get out of because I just can't do too much at once.
As Melissa's escape into food for comfort deepened, this dark period of her life became a secret she kept buried, even as she endured more physical trauma from her mother's abusive partner, who targeted Melissa and her sisters. By 10, Melissa's weight had soared to over 250 pounds, a clear sign of how deeply food had become her refuge. But will she ever escape from this addiction?
The food didn't make the depression I had go away, and it got too overwhelming for me that I didn't want to do anything. And when I turned 16, I dropped out of high school. And for the next couple years, my life was just eating and sleeping, and I hid. I only had one person I really got close to, and who I considered a true friend. And her name is Shay. She would come over and check on me, and she still does it till this day.
As she took on new responsibilities, Melissa's health became a ticking time bomb, and she knew she needed serious help. When Melissa first met Dr. Now, her weight was at a staggering 592 pounds. Dr. Now was taken aback by her lifestyle, particularly her eating habits, consuming 8 to 10 meals a day, and her choice of breakfast, ramen noodles and cheeseburgers. What will Dr. Now recommend for Melissa?
Eating because of food comfort.
Oh, yeah.
So that need to be addressed. So psychotherapy is going to be another step we need to take for you to be successful in the long term. To work on those issues, see what is driving you to eat and what is driving you to have food comfort, okay? One bad day is going to look much better if you eat too much.
Dr. Now recommended she cut down her sleep to 8 hours and reduce her excessive eating, pushing for a consultation with Dr. Paradise, a psychotherapist. Dr. Paradise suggested journaling as a way for Melissa to process her traumas, telling her, "You have kept so much inside that has never been said." Will this lead to a lasting and positive change?
I have to be careful and not push myself too hard. But the breaks that I have to take are shorter, so I see progress with that too. And before I started this journey, I did not like working out. But now when I'm done, I'm happy I did it because I feel good, and the more that I do it is something that I'm becoming more okay with. So overall, I know I'm doing a lot better, and I'm excited about that. But cutting back on food has probably been the hardest part.
Melissa's efforts to change her life seem to be paying off, at least initially. At her second checkup, Melissa weighed in at 548 pounds. Dr. Now set a new goal for her: lose 80 pounds in the next 2 months. Melissa worked hard, and by her next visit, she amazed everyone by getting down to 426 pounds, which meant she was cleared for surgery. But can Melissa maintain this momentum?
Every day, there were times where I tripped up and ate stuff I shouldn't have.
So why are you lying to yourself about how hard you work and trying to lie to me about it?
I don't know. I thought I worked really hard, but I guess I should have worked harder.
I'm glad to see that you've been honest with yourself about that. So that's positive, and losing 44 pounds is also a positive achievement.
Just when it seemed Melissa was on the path to recovery, life had other plans. Things took a turn when she missed her appointments for 7 months. When she finally came back, her weight had gone up again to 440 pounds. Because of the weight she put back on, Melissa couldn't have the weight loss surgery. This turn of events makes her story one of the most unexpected and tragic cases on the show. Her story serves as a powerful reminder that while physical transformations can be impressive, emotional and psychological aspects of such journeys are equally critical.
Thought I was gonna make more progress.
Okay, take some time, but don't take too long, and fall back into old habits. Because if you start to gain again, surgery won't be an option for you at that point.
Okay,
So stick with it and let me know what you want to do.
okay, I definitely will.
Shannon Lowry's story is filled with unimaginable struggles, brief moments of hope, and ultimately a heartbreaking end. Imagine not being able to stand up by yourself for more than a quick 45-second countdown. Yep, you heard that right. Even a simple trip to the bathroom turned into a team effort with her husband Simon, helping her every step of the way. You won't believe how these everyday hurdles pushed her towards an unimaginable path.
I'm too big to do anything. So my whole world is just my bed right now. I can still get up, but just barely. Because of how bad it hurts to move all my weight around now. So I stay in this bed all day and it's miserable.
Reflecting on her childhood, Shannon was raised by her father, who was barely ever around. She turned to food for comfort, and her emotional eating issues were exacerbated because her father worked in a fast food restaurant, where she would frequently go to eat. This early relationship with food set the stage for her struggles.
I don't color anymore. I don't do anything that I used to do. Because it doesn't bring me joy anymore.
All I do is lay here in pain.
There's no ever getting comfortable. Because the pain never goes away. You know, whether it's my ankles or my knees.
After high school, Shannon landed a job and left home. But guess what? With newfound independence came an escalation in her fast food adventures and binge eating sessions. Before she knew it, 400 pounds was the new normal. But did she sweat it? Nope. But the plot thickens as Shannon's weight continues to climb.
I was kind of passed around from house to house after that. And
A lot of different people raised me. My dad, my mom, my aunt for a little while, my grandma, my great aunt.
but my dad remarried when I was living with him. And my stepmom was the one raising me early on.
Looping back to her ambitions, Shannon had dreams, like starting a bigger family. There was just one big hurdle. Her weight was causing infertility and other health issues. Then life hit hard. She lost her grandmother, which made her turn to food even more. Wait until you hear how these adversities pushed her towards a pivotal decision.
It was hard because he was hardly ever there. He was always working to keep a roof over our head. There was never food at the house because he was always working. So I would go to his work and eat. He worked in fast food.
And I think that's where my love of food really started.
At 39, Shannon decided it was time for a change and sought out the legendary Dr. Now. Starting weight? A whopping 739 pounds. Dr. Now prescribed a strict 1-200 calorie diet and some daily exercise, setting a bold goal of shedding 75 pounds in 2 months. But it was tough, especially since Shannon was the one in charge of food at home. So how would she cope with this problem?
So whatever Shannon's weight was a month ago is either the same or higher now. So that's adding even more strain to her system, to where she could have developed any number of life-threatening issues. especially with how sedentary she is. Developing a blood clot in her leg is a serious concern for her because any significant movement for her could dislodge it.
By her second visit, her weight was down to 717 pounds. So she only lost 22 pounds in 2 months instead of her target of losing at least 75 pounds. But despite the rocky start, she agreed to stick to the 1-200 calorie diet. Dr. Now also sent her to a psychotherapist who suggested writing a letter to her late mom. It was a way for Shannon to process everything that happened since her mom's passing. Let's see if this will positively help her.
2, you don't get up and get your own food, and between both of you, you're gonna have to change the dynamic, the food in the house, and see if we can get you to lose some weight and get you out of this condition that you are in, okay?
Okay. So meat and vegetables from now on.
Okay.
He's got to put his big girl panties on.
Is there anything you can work on not telling her she's not gonna have that?
As Shannon's emotional and physical transformation journey continued, she reached a critical milestone. By her final appointment, Shannon weighed 698 pounds and was given a new goal. However, dreams of surgery were put on hold due to not losing enough weight. So, the question remained, will her dreams of a new beginning come to fruition?
But if you'd make it down to that weight and you arrange to move to Houston, then we're gonna talk about next step and doing weight loss surgery.
Okay, doctor.
All right, good. And Simon, I want you to do better and help her make more progress.
Yeah, I'll do everything I can for her, make all the changes that needs to be done.
Okay, I hope so.